The School, also known as The Haunting, is a 28 film directed by Storm Ashwood. This is written by Tessa, Alana and Storm Ashwood, and it stars Megan Drury. And unfortunately, this is all style and no substance. The style is very good though. Visually, it is very well done. The narrative is very poorly handled. It's not scary. I would call this more of a borderline fantasy film than a horror film, and it's not scary at all. The narrative structure is very, very poor. It cuts back and forth between this hospital and this abandoned school, where our protagonist frequently finds herself waking up, and we know that her son in the hospital is in a very critical situation, and I won't say too much about that. And then it'll quite frequently cut to this school where we have these very creepy children. Well, they were creepy to begin with, but the more we learned about them and the more we got to know them, they became less creepy and just kind of boring. But the makeup was very well done. I do think the makeup for the children and the other characters in the abandoned building, very, very well done. But as a narrative, it just doesn't have a lot to offer. I don't think it's very interesting. IMDb describes our protagonist as facing a supernatural terror. That's not true. There's nothing scary about this. The more we learn, the less scary it becomes. And with horror films, that's not the way it goes. With horror films, it becomes more and more scary as the film goes on until it reaches its peak, usually towards the end. And then in general, horror films will fizzle out towards the last couple of minutes, and then often we'll be hit with a jump scare at the very end, or a twist, or something sinister and scary. With this, though, it just gets weaker and weaker the more it goes on. The narrative structure is, in my opinion, really terrible. It's illogical, and the more we learn, the less good it becomes, but it never really was very good at all. So visually, yeah, very well done. The technical aspects, no complaints there. The performances are absolutely fine, but the actual story is terrible. And it's not a scary film, so if you're looking for a horror, this isn't it. I love scary stories that focus on children. I think that contrast of the innocence of children with the darkness of horror usually makes for a good film. That's not the case with The School. I liked the design of the building. I liked the makeup. I liked all of that. But the actual narrative structure and the story itself, very, very boring. Unfortunately, I'm very disappointed by this one. There might be an audience for it, but if you're looking for a horror film, The School or The Haunting is not a good one to go with.